Most people don't fail because they are weak. They fail because they only move when they feel motivated. One day they are full of energy. The next day they disappear from their own promises. They wait for the perfect mood, the perfect time, the perfect inspiration. But discipline never waits. The greatest battle is not against the world. It is against the version of yourself that always wants comfort instead of growth. Today, you will learn why consistency is the highest form of self-respect, how small daily actions reshape your identity, and why the strongest people are not the most talented, but the ones who refuse to quit. Stay until the end, because one simple shift in your mindset may change the way you approach every single day of your life. Most people don't fail because they are weak. They fail because they only move when they feel motivated. One day they are full of energy. The next day they disappear from their own promises. They wait for the perfect mood, the perfect time, the perfect inspiration, but discipline never waits. The greatest battle is not against the world. It is against the version of yourself that always wants comfort instead of growth. Today, you will learn why consistency is the highest form of self-respect, how small daily actions reshape your identity, and why the strongest people are not the most talented, but the ones who refuse to quit. Stay until the end, because one simple shift in your mindset may change the way you approach every single day of your life. Every meaningful transformation begins with a promise. Not a promise made to your family, not a promise made to your friends, not even a promise made to society. The most important promise is the one you make to yourself when no one else is listening. Many people speak confidently about the future they want. They dream of becoming healthier, wiser, calmer, stronger, or more successful. Their intentions sound sincere. Their plans appear detailed. Yet, after a few days, the excitement fades and the promise quietly disappears into the background. This happens so often that people begin to accept it as normal. But every time you abandon a commitment you made to yourself, something invisible happens inside your mind. Your confidence weakens. Not because someone criticized you, not because life became difficult, but because your own actions taught your mind that your words cannot be trusted. Trust is not only something that exists between people, it also exists between you and yourself. Imagine having a friend who repeatedly promises to meet you but never arrives. At first, you forgive them. After several disappointments, you stop believing what they say. Eventually, their promises lose all meaning. Your mind reacts in exactly the same way when you repeatedly tell yourself, "Tomorrow I will begin," or "This time I will stay disciplined," but fail to act. Your subconscious slowly stops believing your intentions. This is why many people struggle with confidence. Confidence is not built by repeating positive words. Confidence grows when your actions repeatedly prove that your promises matter. Every small promise you keep becomes evidence. Evidence creates trust. Trust creates confidence. Confidence creates consistency. And consistency transforms your life. Most people search for complicated methods. They believe they need a perfect morning routine, a better productivity system, another motivational video, another inspiring book. But none of these tools can replace one simple habit: doing what you said you would do, even when no one is watching. Especially when no one is watching, because that is the moment your character is being shaped. The world celebrates dramatic achievements, winning championships, beating companies, changing lives. But every extraordinary accomplishment is built upon thousands of ordinary moments where someone quietly chose to remain faithful to a simple commitment. They woke up, they practiced, they studied, they trained. They repeated the same action long after the excitement disappeared. Consistency is rarely exciting. It is often repetitive, sometimes boring, sometimes lonely, sometimes unnoticed. Yet those invisible days become the foundation of visible success. There is another reason people struggle to remain consistent. They confuse feelings with responsibility. They believe they should only act when they feel inspired, but feelings behave like weather. Some mornings you wake up energized, other mornings you feel exhausted. If your actions depend entirely on emotions, your progress will always rise and fall with your mood. Inner peace cannot be built upon unstable emotions. It must be built upon stable principles. The question is no longer, do I feel like doing this today? Instead ask, who am I becoming if I continue? This question changes everything, because consistency is not really about today's task. It is about tomorrow's identity. Every repeated action casts another vote for the person you are becoming. Each workout says, I am someone who values strength. Each page you read says, I am someone who continues learning. Each moment of patience says, I am someone who chooses wisdom instead of impulse. Identity grows quietly. You do not suddenly become disciplined. You become disciplined one decision at a time. Most people underestimate the power of very small actions. They think a single missed day changes nothing. Sometimes it doesn't. But repeated neglect slowly becomes a habit. Just as repeated discipline becomes a habit, life rarely changes because of one giant decision. It changes because of hundreds of tiny decisions repeated consistently. A tree does not grow because of one day of sunlight. It grows because sunlight returns every day. Your mind works the same way. Feed it discipline consistently. Feed it patience consistently. Feed it honesty consistently. Eventually, these qualities become part of who you are. The greatest obstacle is often perfection. Many people stop after making one mistake. They miss one workout, one meditation session, one study session. Then they convince themselves they have failed. This way of thinking creates unnecessary suffering. Perfection is fragile. Consistency is resilient. A disciplined person does not succeed because they never fall. They succeed because they return quickly. They understand that one imperfect day never defines an entire journey. Returning is more important than never stopping. Progress belongs to those who continue, not to those who perform perfectly. When you begin honoring your smallest promises, something remarkable begins to happen. You no longer need constant encouragement. You no longer seek external validation for every step. Your motivation slowly becomes internal. You begin acting because your identity demands it, not because your emotions approve of it. This is the quiet strength that cannot easily be shaken, because once your word becomes valuable to yourself, your relationship with life changes. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop waiting for ideal conditions. You simply continue, one promise, one action, one day at a time. And without realizing it, the person you once hoped to become is gradually becoming the person you choose to be every single day. Most people spend their lives chasing motivation. They wait for that sudden feeling of excitement before they begin. They tell themselves that tomorrow they will feel more energetic. Next week, they will be more focused. Next month, they will finally become disciplined. But tomorrow arrives, and nothing changes, not because they lack potential, not because they are incapable, but because they have placed their future in the hands of an emotion that was never meant to lead their life. Motivation is powerful. It can inspire action. It can ignite the first step. It can give you the courage to begin something that once felt impossible. But motivation was never designed to carry you through the long journey. It is like a spark. A spark can light a fire, but if you never add wood to that fire, it disappears. Discipline is the wood, consistency is the flame. And your daily choices determine whether that fire keeps burning. Many people believe disciplined individuals simply have stronger willpower. They imagine that successful people wake up every morning feeling excited to train, to study, to work, or to improve themselves. This is rarely true. Even the strongest minds experience resistance. Even the most successful people feel tired. Even those who appear calm and focused have moments when they would rather stay comfortable. The difference is not that they feel differently. The difference is that they respond differently. When discomfort appears, most people ask, "How do I feel today?" A disciplined person asks, "What must be done today?" This small shift changes everything because feelings change, responsibilities remain. Imagine the sun deciding whether to rise based on how it feels. Imagine the ocean refusing to move because the waves are tired. Nature does not wait for motivation. It follows its rhythm, its order, its discipline. That is why it remains powerful. Your life also needs rhythm, not chaos, not emotional reactions. A rhythm built upon daily actions that happen whether you feel inspired or not. The modern world teaches us to chase excitement. Everything around us is designed to keep our attention moving. One notification, one video, one new trend, one distraction after another. As a result, many people unknowingly train themselves to seek instant stimulation instead of meaningful progress. The mind becomes addicted to novelty, yet growth is repetitive, strength is repetitive, wisdom is repetitive, mastery is repetitive. The greatest achievements are rarely created through extraordinary moments. They are created through ordinary actions repeated for an extraordinary length of time. This truth is difficult to accept because repetition feels invisible. No one applauds you for waking up on time. No one celebrates the 100th page you read. No one notices another quiet meditation session. No one sees the workout you completed before sunrise. But these unseen moments are shaping someone the world has not yet met. Every disciplined action strengthens something invisible. Your character. Character is built long before success becomes visible. Most people try to change their circumstances. Very few focus on changing themselves. Yet circumstances constantly change. Your character stays with you. When you build discipline, you create something that cannot easily be taken away. Money can disappear, opportunities can vanish, recognition can fade. But the ability to act despite discomfort remains one of the greatest strengths a human being can possess. There will always be reasons to stop. You are too busy, too tired, too stressed, too discouraged. Life will always offer excuses. The question is not whether excuses exist. The question is whether they control your decisions. Every excuse accepted today becomes a habit tomorrow. Every disciplined decision made today also becomes a habit tomorrow. You are always practicing something. Either you practice quitting or you practice continuing. There is no neutral ground. Your habits quietly decide your future, while your emotions argue about the present. One of the greatest misunderstandings about discipline is that people believe it makes life restrictive. They think discipline removes freedom. In reality, the opposite is true. Without discipline, your emotions control you, your impulses control you, your distractions control you, your fears control you. But discipline gives you a choice. It allows you to act according to your values instead of your temporary feelings. That is freedom. Real freedom is not doing whatever you feel like doing. Real freedom is having the ability to do what is right, even when you do not feel like it. This kind of freedom cannot be purchased. It cannot be borrowed. It must be earned through repeated practice. Every single day, life presents a quiet decision, comfort or growth. The comfortable choice is almost always easier in the moment. Sleep a little longer, delay the work, skip the practice. Wait until tomorrow. The price seems small, but comfort charges interest. Every delayed action makes the next delay easier. Every avoided challenge makes the next challenge feel larger. Growth works differently. Its rewards are delayed. The first workout feels difficult. The first study session feels exhausting. The first attempt feels uncomfortable. But every repetition makes the next one easier. Every discipline choice strengthens your ability to make another. This is why discipline compounds, not overnight, not in a week, but over months and years. It quietly transforms your entire identity. Eventually, you stop asking yourself whether you feel motivated. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. Instead, you become someone who simply shows up again and again and again, because you understand the truth that many people never discover. Motivation helps you begin. Discipline ensures you never have to begin again. Most people believe their life changes because of one big decision, one breakthrough, one opportunity, one perfect moment. They wait for something extraordinary to happen, convinced that a single event will transform everything they have struggled with for years. But nature teaches a very different lesson. A mountain is not formed in one day. A river does not carve through stone overnight. A tree does not become strong after a single sunrise. Everything meaningful is created through small actions repeated with patience. Your life follows the same principle. The person you become tomorrow is not determined by what you do once. It is determined by what you choose to repeat every single day. Many people underestimate the power of small actions because they judge progress by what they can immediately see. If they exercise once, they expect visible results. If they meditate for a few days, they expect inner peace. If they study for a week, they expect mastery. When these expectations are not fulfilled, disappointment replaces commitment. They stop, not because the process failed, but because they expected seeds to become forests overnight. Growth has never worked that way. The most powerful changes happen quietly, so quietly that you often fail to notice them while they are happening. Every page you read expands your understanding by a fraction. Every workout strengthens your body by a fraction. Every difficult conversation strengthens your courage by a fraction. Every moment of patience strengthens your character by a fraction. None of these moments seem life-changing on their own, yet together they create a completely different person. This is the secret many people overlook. Your identity is not built by your biggest achievements. It is built by your smallest repeated behaviors. Every action is a vote. Every choice casts another vote for the kind of person you are becoming. When you wake up early despite wanting to sleep, you vote for discipline. When you speak kindly instead of reacting with anger, you vote for wisdom. When you practice instead of procrastinating, you vote for excellence. When you keep your promise despite inconvenience, you vote for integrity. No single vote decides the outcome, but thousands of votes create an identity. Many people make the mistake of defining themselves by isolated moments. They say, I failed, I am lazy, I have no discipline. These labels become prisons. A single mistake does not define who you are. Just as one successful day does not make you disciplined, identity is the result of repetition. You become what you repeatedly practice. If you repeatedly practice excuses, excuses become your identity. If you repeatedly practice courage, courage becomes your identity. If you repeatedly practice consistency, consistency becomes who you are. The mind is constantly learning from your behavior, not your intentions, not your dreams, your actions. Each day your subconscious asks one simple question. What does this person repeatedly do? The answer becomes your identity. That is why small habits matter more than dramatic promises. Grand declarations are exciting. Quiet repetition is transformative. Many people begin with enormous enthusiasm. They create impossible schedules, wake up at 4, exercise 2 hours, write 50 pages, meditate for an hour, completely change their life in a single day. Within a week, they are exhausted. Within 2 weeks, they quit. The problem was never their ambition. The problem was believing that intensity matters more than consistency. A single candle burning every night gives more light over time than a blazing fire that burns out in minutes. Life rewards endurance, not emotional intensity. You do not need to become extraordinary overnight. You only need to become slightly better than yesterday. Small improvements appear insignificant. 1% feels invisible. But improvement compounds. 1% today, 1% tomorrow, 1% next week. Months later, you become someone your past self would barely recognize. Not because of one dramatic transformation, because of countless invisible decisions. There is another danger people rarely notice. They become discouraged because their effort is invisible to others. No one compliments the discipline behind your progress. People notice the result, rarely the preparation. They admire confidence. They never saw the years of uncertainty. They admire strength. They never witnessed the mornings when your body wanted to quit. They admire wisdom. They never experienced the countless mistakes that created understanding. Do not confuse silence with lack of progress. Roots grow beneath the ground long before branches reach the sky. Your invisible work is never wasted. Every quiet effort is preparing you for a future opportunity. The world often rewards what has been practiced in private. There will be days when your progress feels painfully slow. Days when you question whether your effort matters. Days when nothing appears different. These are the moments that define your future. Anyone can continue when results are obvious. Very few continue when results remain hidden. Yet hidden progress is still progress. The bamboo tree spends years developing its roots before it rises rapidly above the ground. To someone who only looks at the surface, nothing seems to be happening. But beneath the soil, an unshakable foundation is being built. Your life often follows the same pattern. Every disciplined choice strengthens foundations you cannot yet see. Patience becomes resilience. Resilience becomes confidence. Confidence becomes leadership. Leadership becomes influence. Everything begins with tiny actions repeated long enough to become part of your nature. Eventually, consistency no longer feels like effort. It becomes your identity. You no longer force yourself to act. You simply act because that is who you have become. You do not exercise because you are motivated. You exercise because you are someone who honors your body. You do not read because you feel inspired. You read because you are someone committed to learning. You do not keep promises because someone is watching. You keep them because your character demands it. That is the true power of small daily actions. They slowly erase the distance between who you are today and who you were always capable of becoming. Not through one extraordinary moment, but through ordinary moments lived with extraordinary consistency. Growth has always demanded a price. The question is not whether you will experience discomfort. The question is which discomfort you are willing to live with. There is the discomfort of discipline, and there is the discomfort of regret. One lasts for a moment, the other can remain for years. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid discomfort. They search for easier paths, quicker results, and painless solutions. They believe peace is found by escaping struggle. But every attempt to avoid temporary discomfort often creates greater suffering later. Avoid one difficult conversation, and misunderstandings grow. Avoid one workout, and weakness slowly increases. Avoid one responsibility, and stress quietly accumulates. Comfort has a hidden cost. It feels harmless in the present because it asks for very little. Just one more hour, just one more excuse, just one more delay. But comfort is patient. It slowly shapes your habits until the life you wanted feels farther away than ever before. Discomfort works differently. It demands something from you immediately, your effort, your attention, your courage. It asks you to face resistance instead of escaping it. And because of that, many people mistake discomfort as something negative. Yet discomfort is often the language of growth. Think about every meaningful skill you have ever learned: walking, reading, speaking, driving. None of them felt natural at first. Each required awkwardness, mistakes, frustration, repetition. If you had stopped because learning felt uncomfortable, you would never have developed those abilities. Growth has always hidden itself behind temporary struggle. The strongest trees grow where the winds are harsh. Muscles become stronger by resisting weight. Diamonds are formed under immense pressure. Nature never apologizes for the process. Neither should you. Your challenges are not always obstacles. Sometimes they are your teachers. Pain has a unique way of revealing truths that comfort never can. Comfort tells you that you already know enough. Discomfort reminds you how much more you can become. Comfort whispers, "Stay where you are." Growth quietly says, "Take one more step." There will always be a voice inside your mind asking you to quit. Not because you are incapable, because your brain is designed to conserve energy. For thousands of years, survival depended upon avoiding unnecessary effort. Today, that same instinct often works against your highest goals. Your mind interprets unfamiliar effort as danger. That is why beginning feels difficult. That is why change feels uncomfortable. That is why discipline feels unnatural at first. Understanding this changes your relationship with struggle. You stop believing something is wrong simply because it feels difficult. Difficulty is not always a warning. Sometimes it is confirmation that you are leaving your comfort zone. Many people confuse comfort with happiness. They believe happiness means never feeling stress, never feeling uncertainty, never feeling fear. But the happiest and most fulfilled people are not those who avoided every challenge. They are those who discovered meaning through overcoming them. Confidence is not born in moments of ease. It is born when you face something difficult and realize you survived. Every challenge you overcome expands your understanding of yourself. You begin to trust your own strength, not because life became easier, because you became stronger. There is a profound difference between suffering without purpose and struggling towards something meaningful. The first drains your spirit, the second strengthens it. When your discomfort serves a purpose, it transforms into growth. The athlete accepts pain because strength matters. The student accepts long hours because knowledge matters. The parent sacrifices comfort because love matters. Purpose changes the meaning of hardship. Without purpose, pain feels unbearable. With purpose, pain becomes an investment. This is why you must always remember why you began. Not for applause, not for recognition, not to prove something to others, but because becoming a better version of yourself is worth temporary discomfort. Many people believe courage means feeling fearless. True courage is something much quieter. It is moving forward while fear is still present. It is acting despite uncertainty. It is remaining committed when results have not yet appeared. Fear may walk beside you, but it does not have to lead you. Each time you choose growth over comfort, your mind adapts. What once felt impossible slowly becomes normal. The first workout feels exhausting. The 20th feels routine. The first speech feels terrifying. The 100th feels natural. The first difficult decision feels overwhelming. Years later, you wonder why it ever frightened you. Growth changes your perception, not because the challenge disappeared, because you develop the strength to meet it. There will always be seasons when progress feels slow, moments when discipline feels heavy, days when nothing seems to improve. These are often the moments when your deepest transformation is taking place. Just because change is invisible does not mean it is absent. The roots of a tree continue growing beneath the surface long before anyone notices new branches. Your resilience grows the same way, silently, patiently, one difficult decision at a time. Every challenge you refuse to run from becomes evidence that you are stronger than yesterday. Every uncomfortable step weakens the control fear once had over your life. Every disciplined action reminds you that comfort is not your destination. Growth is eventually. Discomfort stops feeling like an enemy. It becomes a familiar companion, a quiet reminder that you are stretching beyond who you used to be. And when you stop fearing discomfort, you also stop fearing change, because you understand that every meaningful transformation begins the moment you choose growth over ease, purpose over pleasure, and the long-term strength that only temporary discomfort can build. Every morning, before the world asks anything of you, life presents one silent question: who will lead today? Your highest self or your lowest impulse? This battle is invisible. No audience watches it. No applause follows it. No one knows how many times you resisted distraction, controlled your emotions, or chose discipline over comfort. Yet these unseen victories shape every visible success. Many people believe self-mastery is something extraordinary. They imagine it belongs only to monks, warriors, athletes, or great leaders. But self-mastery is not reserved for a chosen few. It begins with ordinary decisions. Getting out of bed when your mind says, stay. Remaining calm when anger wants to speak. Continuing your work when boredom tells you to stop. Listening instead of reacting. Thinking before responding. Choosing patience instead of impulse. These moments appear small, but they quietly determine the direction of your entire life. The greatest opponent you will ever face is not another person. It is the version of yourself that seeks comfort over growth. The voice that says, you can start tomorrow. One day won't matter. You deserve a break. At first, those words sound harmless, reasonable, even, but repeated often enough, they become the architect of an ordinary life. Every day you obey that voice, it grows stronger. Every day you challenge it, your true self grows stronger. This is why mastery is never achieved once. It must be practiced daily. Just as a sword loses its edge without care, the mind loses its discipline without practice. No one becomes wise forever. No one becomes disciplined forever. Every day requires another choice, another act of awareness, another moment of intention. Many people search for external control. They want to manage other people, change circumstances, influence outcomes. Yet the only thing fully within your control has always been yourself, your thoughts, your actions, your attitude, your response. Everything else belongs to uncertainty. When you understand this, an incredible peace begins to emerge. You stop exhausting yourself trying to control what was never yours. Instead, you invest your energy where it creates the greatest return. Within yourself, there is immense strength in accepting this truth. You cannot control whether people understand you, but you can control your honesty. You cannot control whether life becomes difficult, but you can control your response. You cannot control the opinions of others, but you can control whether those opinions define your actions. This is where freedom begins. Not when life becomes easier, when your inner world becomes stronger than your outer circumstances. The mind is like a garden. Whatever you repeatedly cultivate will grow. If you constantly feed fear, fear expands. If you repeatedly entertain excuses, excuses multiply. If you nourish gratitude, discipline, patience, and courage, those qualities gradually become your nature. Your thoughts become habits. Your habits become character. Your character becomes your destiny. That is why guarding your mind is one of the greatest responsibilities you have. Every conversation, every book, every environment, every person, every piece of content you consume leaves a small impression. One impression may seem insignificant. Thousands create your worldview. Choose carefully what you allow into your mind, because your future is quietly being shaped by what repeatedly occupies your attention. There will always be distractions. The world profits from divided attention. Every notification competes for your focus. Every opinion competes for your confidence. Every trend competes for your identity. If you are not intentional, the world will gladly decide how you spend your time, your energy, and eventually your life. Mastery begins by reclaiming your attention. Where your attention goes, your life follows. If you constantly focus on problems, your world becomes smaller. If you focus on growth, possibilities begin to appear. Attention is one of the greatest forms of power. Protect it, direct it. Use it with purpose. There is another truth many people avoid. Self-mastery requires humility. The moment you believe you no longer need discipline is often the moment discipline begins to disappear. Growth never ends. There is always another lesson, another weakness to overcome, another habit to refine, another opportunity to become wiser. The strongest people remain students throughout their lives. Not because they lack confidence, because they understand that learning keeps the mind alive. Every sunrise offers another beginning, not another chance to become someone else. Another chance to become more fully yourself. One decision, one breath, one response at a time. When you practice mastering yourself every day, something remarkable happens. Life still brings challenges. People still disappoint you. Plans still fail, storms still arrive, but they no longer determine who you are. Your peace no longer depends upon perfect circumstances. Your strength no longer depends upon easy days. Your consistency no longer depends upon motivation. Instead, you become anchored within yourself, calm in uncertainty, steady in difficulty, focused in distraction, disciplined in freedom. This is the quiet power that cannot be taken away, not because it was given to you, because you earned it through countless unseen decisions, day after day, moment after moment, until mastery was no longer something you hoped to achieve. It became the way you chose to live. Thank you for staying until the end. Remember, consistency is not about becoming perfect. It is about refusing to give up on yourself. Some days you will feel strong. Some days you will feel tired. Some days progress will be obvious. Other days it will seem as though nothing is changing. Keep going anyway, because every promise you keep, every disciplined action you repeat, and every uncomfortable step you choose is quietly shaping the person you are becoming. Do not measure your life by a single day. Measure it by the direction you continue to walk. The strongest people are not those who never struggle. They are the ones who continue despite the struggle. So, when tomorrow arrives, do not ask yourself if you feel motivated. Ask yourself who you want to become. Then let your actions answer that question. One choice, one habit, one day at a time. Your future is not created by what you intend to do. It is created by what you consistently do. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs this reminder today. And before you leave, write these words in the comments. I choose consistency over excuses. Read those words one more time. Because every great transformation begins the moment you decide to honor your own promise. Until next time, protect your mind, strengthen your character, and continue walking your path with patience, discipline, and unwavering purpose.